What's up, guys? My name is Todd Byrd, and this is Foundation for Our Future. On this week's episode, we have 2023 Rockwall High School graduate and the current starting shortstop for the Ole Miss Rebels, Brayden Randle. Unfortunately, due to some technical difficulties, we were only able to capture the second half of our conversation about Division I level discipline. So, tune into what we got, and we look forward to seeing you next Monday night at 7:30 on Zoom. So, fellas, ultimately, things that keep us from being disciplined, right? We all have an inkling of discipline. It's in us. You know, you wake up and you brush your teeth in the morning, right? It's a non-negotiable, correct? Y'all do that. Everybody does that. That's a discipline. That's something you do every day, no matter what, right? You brush your teeth. So we all have the ability to be disciplined and just a little bit of that in us. But the type of discipline we're talking about to get us to achieve something that sets us apart, something that gives us opportunity to do way more than just be average, so to speak, gives us the opportunity to do way more than just be good enough, right? But really allows us to be great or excellent at something. To pursue excellence is an incredible thing, and these levels of discipline is what it takes to get there. But there's things detracting us from that. For me, it's social media, right? It's hitting that snooze button in the morning. It's so tempting when it's still dark outside. These are little detractors that keep me from being disciplined. So what are some things that keep you guys from being disciplined? Can y'all tell us? Anybody? Homework. You have a hard time being disciplined with homework, or homework keeps you from being disciplined in baseball? You can.
I have a hard time disciplining myself to do homework.
To do the homework. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's fair, bro, because that's something you probably don't want to do, but you know you need to do to get to where you want to go.
Got to do it.
And those are things that matter, but they're so challenging to be disciplined at. So for me, if there's something like homework or something that I need to do that I know is beneficial for my life, that is going to help me get to where I need to go, how can I be more disciplined to do that? I try to knock it out first. I try to knock out the hardest things first, Staten. You know what I mean? If it's challenging and I know it's going to be challenging for me to sit down and do, I attack it as quickly as I can and get it out of the way. So then it frees me up mentally and physically to go do the things that I'm excited about. But if you try to go do the things that you're excited about, you're gonna have that kind of like angry homework cloud looming over your head. And then you're gonna be split focused and you're not gonna be working wholeheartedly towards the goals, right? Then you're gonna go back and you'll be frustrated. And you see how it's just kind of a negative spiral. You're digging yourself a hole. And anytime you're digging a hole, man, it just gets harder and harder to get out of. So you're either going to something great or away from something great. And that little short-term gain of not doing your homework now because you can put it off or procrastinate to do it later feels good in the moment because you're like, oh, got that off my plate for now, I can do it later. But then what happens? It compounds, and when you come back later, it almost seems harder to do because now you're tired, now you're hungry, now you're frustrated because mom and dad are yelling at you, right? You have all these things that starts to just stack up. So my way of working through those things is just to knock it out first and foremost. I'm gonna give you a real life example, Staten. I had some dishes in my sink today at my house. I woke up this morning, I was like, oh. But guess what? I knocked them out, baby. I knocked them out, and then I had a clean environment to make some good breakfast, to go about my day excited, feeling like I'd already won, right? I'd already done something and accomplished it. So now I'm ready to rock. Do you agree with all that?
Yeah, but that also goes back to our long-term goals. Guys, I don't know how old y'all are, but are any of y'all like freshmen, sophomores, anything like that?
I'm a freshman. I'm a sophomore.
Okay, well, a GPA your freshman and sophomore year, that's like a starting point for high school. At the end of your high school career, your freshman and sophomore year can affect that so much. And the higher GPA you have, the higher scholarship you get, the more money you get. It helps your parents out. So, doing that homework, having the long-term goal of getting a big scholarship from your schooling, that's like a long-term goal. So.
And for some of you guys who might have the financial means, right? You're like, oh, my parents are gonna pay for school regardless. Understand that money is there and your parents want to help you. And so if you can find a way to pay for baseball or pay for your schooling, elsewhere through baseball or through another vehicle, whether it's your academics or baseball or whatever it might be, now you're just able to utilize more resources to aid you in the long-term pursuit, which is just glorifying God and loving people, right? You don't have to be bound by student loans. You don't have to be bound by not being able to feed yourself adequately. All these things that your parents are now have the financial freedom to help you with because you're paying that money they had set aside for tuition. It's paid for. Does that make sense? So
and college coaches, they like guys who make really good grades because number one, that's less that they have to worry about. It's what's the word? Less that they have to worry about. They don't have to spend as much baseball money. They can spend more academics from the school. So college coaches love guys who make good grades.
And it shows your level of discipline. There's two things that college coaches love. It's a guy who's in shape, knows his way around a weight room, and a guy who makes good grades. Because it's not the fact that he's the big, strong, jack dude, or it's not the fact that he's a straight A guy, but it's the absolute fact that in order to attain either one of those things, it takes an elite level of discipline. And that's what we're working towards, and those are the things that are going to set you apart from your peers. So Brayden and I are men of faith, man. We are working for the glory of God, and we talk about this often. And there's two verses I want to share with you guys. One comes from 1 Corinthians 9:27. It says, "But I discipline my body and keep it under control. So after preaching to others, I myself should not be disqualified from the prize." So what Paul's talking about there is just disciplining himself so that when he puts himself out in front of other people or speaks to other people, whether it's his peers around him or guys younger than him or whoever it might be, that his words are validated, that he's not just hypocritical and speaking about something that he's not practicing in his own life. And so one surefire way to be a leader on our team and a leader in our community and a leader in our classroom, which is what all you guys are, otherwise you wouldn't be here right now, right? You want to be great, you want to do amazing things and lead the way. You have to discipline yourself. And if you can discipline yourself and control your body, control your mind, you now have the platform to be able to go out and help others around us, which is ultimately what we're called to do. And the last one I want B-Dog to elaborate on, because he's going through this right now, right? He's got big plans, big dreams, great opportunity ahead of him. He wants to be a first rounder, wants to get paid money because the landscape of college baseball right now warrants him the opportunity to get paid. And he's trying to digest all that and figure it out while maintaining all of these other things we're talking about, academics, family, and the balance of his girlfriend and other social things, and then obviously the ability to play at a high level. And so Proverbs 15:22 says, "Plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors they succeed." That goes back to the accountability, right, and the people we put in our corner and what we have to have helping us to achieve the plans that we've set for ourselves.
Yeah, and some we would call it detractors. There's going to be a lot of things that can take you away from the game of baseball. Like, I'm in college, so everybody likes to go out and do party and all that. That goes back to the accountability partners.
Yeah.
That, I was lazy one day, but I watched this kid work super hard, so I'm going to go work hard. So, that's kind of what I got to say for that.
Fellas, I want to open the floor real quick. Just a couple minutes, just a Q&A. Y'all got any questions for Brayden? Anything that you want to just kind of get vulnerable about for a minute? Anything that's on your heart? It's an open floor. Go ahead and get it.
What is the practice days, with the D1 college look like?
Probably a lot less than you think. We are out there for a couple hours, but we touch base on stuff. So like we'll get out there at like 2:30. Hitters before 2:30, hitters have to do their early hitting, which is like hit on the tee, because they don't want you to go out there just all cold and go out there and start swinging. So we have to do early hitting. We have to go out there. We have to do mobility. That's about 10 minutes before you start throwing. And then we throw, and then right at 2:30, so I would say about 1:30 you need to get there and start doing all that type of stuff. And about 1:30 or about 1:45 you start throwing, and then around 2 o'clock you're there doing infield work with all the infielders with our infielder coach. So that goes on for about 30 minutes, and then 2:30 hits, and it's practice time. So we really focus on, as a team, doing like first and thirds, bunts. So learning what our coach wants us to do with those type of situations. So that goes on for a couple hours. Our coach has a microphone that he'll stop in the middle of the play and just talk about it in a microphone. So that goes on for a little while, and then we'll just hit BP, and then we'll go work out. We're done for the day.
So I want to elaborate on something. The first thing he said was, it's probably not as much as you think. And then he went on to talk about hours worth of work. 5-6 hours from the time you show up for early hitting to the time you leave the weight room. But here's the deal, man. It doesn't stop there either, because now he's not even talking about the study hall. He's not even talking about going to the cafeteria to fuel the body, which feels like a job sometimes when you're tired and don't feel like eating a bunch of food, but you still got to crush your meal. And then the recovery aspect of that, going to the training room, making sure you get the sleep that you need. Like, it's all part of the process. And so just understand when he's like, oh, it's probably not as much as you think it is. That's still significantly more, just the things he said, than what we do on a day-to-day basis. And we think we're working hard, right? You feel that, John? You go take a lesson, maybe do a little extra work out for half an hour, and you're like, oh, whew, I did a lot of work today. I got it in. But that's not even close to doing what he has to do on a daily basis to compete at that level.
When I said it's not as much as you think it is, it kind of gets manipulated in, like, we don't go 110% every single day. We're touching base on these things. We're gonna dive down into these types and these different things every single day, and then we're gonna be done for it. We're gonna touch base on it in a week and see if everybody remembers it. So it's not like we're doing these drills like kind of slow.
Yeah, it's strategic.
Yeah.
It's strategic. There's a plan. Notice he said 1:45, 2:30, right? For 2 hours from 2:30 to 4:30, this is what we do. There's a plan. And what that allows them to do is execute that plan. And then, back to our point, Mr. Staten, is once you've executed the things that are hard and the things that you have to do, now he has the freedom to go take care of himself on the back end, because he's already executed what he set forth to execute that day. Correct? So it's strategic. It's all strategy. It's setting yourself up on a day-to-day to be successful. And the best way to do that is to write it down and create a plan for yourself. You guys know I have school from 8 to 2, whatever it is, right? What's your day look like, John?
I have school till 4:15, and I have baseball tryouts tomorrow, so hope that out goes well.
Okay. Well, baseball tryouts you're gonna kill it. You're gonna kill it. But you got school from 8:30 to 4:15, whatever it is, right? And then you're gonna have baseball from 4:30 or 5 to 6 or 6:30 most days, right? And then what do you do after that? Do you go above and beyond and go get extra work in? Do you get more work in the weight room? Do you prioritize nutrition? Whatever it is, have it scheduled out so that then at the end of the day you have your checklist, those items that you can knock off one after the other, and give yourself a grade at the end of time or at the end of the week on how you did and what little adjustments you can make to help yourself be more disciplined.
How was it like playing on varsity as a freshman?
Scary, man. I would say it's like the first time that I was tested. playing with older guys and playing in front of a way bigger crowd than what I'm used to. It was definitely a test for sure, but it wasn't much of results. It was more of getting ready for the future.
That's huge, Jack. Write that down, baby. Write that down. It's not as much about today, right? But today is part of the process for the future, for what's to come. What a great answer. Because you guys going into your freshman year or sophomore year feel like everything matters so much today, and if I stink today, if I struggle today, then my career is over. But the reality is you're just building a foundation for your future. What an amazing thing that is. That gives you freedom so that you now shift your focus to how disciplined can I be, so that no matter if I win or lose today, it's just part of the process to get me where I want to go.
Where do I want to be in the future?
Cool. Guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you being on tonight. Y'all have a great evening. Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm sorry I was a little late to the party. This is Brayden Randle, Brayden's dad, and thank you for having this podcast. It's a pretty cool way to get in front of some young men, and certainly appreciate the fact that that you kind of melt some spirituality into baseball. And really, I've been talking to my boys about this a lot lately, and what the hardest thing to do as a young person is understand that when you put God first in everything that you do, everything else falls into line. And for these young men that have aspiring baseball careers, nothing can be more important than putting the Lord first in their lives. And I'm speaking from someone who has not always done that. I was not saved until I was 24 years old. And before that, I thought that I could do it all myself, and had varying success at times, but just kind of floundered through life. And then, I found the Lord, and it hasn't always been perfect, but I've had way more success in my life because of my relationship with God, and because I try to put Him first in everything that I do. And so I want to share with you a Bible verse that somebody shared with me a very, very, very long time ago. And he said that this is the best advice that he could give any young man. And it comes from the book of Psalms, and it's Psalm 1, starting in verse 1. It says, "Blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, or stand in the way of sinners, or sit in the seat of mockers. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. He is like a tree planted by the streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever he does prospers." And that verse has impacted my life in a way that I can't really explain. And God's promises are always real. He always keeps his promises. And when he promises here that if you stay out of the counsel of the wicked and out of the way of sinners, that he'll prosper you. And so my advice to any young man is to give God a chance. Give God a chance at your social career, your baseball career, your career one day. Put him first, and he'll put you first.
Brett, thank you for that, man. That's a wrap. That's all we need. That's all we need. Thank you. Thank you for being a wise counsel to me, and one of my accountability partners. I'm glad I can share the love with your son, and then ultimately pour into these young men here. So we're here for you guys. We love you. We're so excited to have you be a part of the Futures Association. What you got?
Dad.
I think so.
Dad.
Hey, yeah.
Are my steaks ready?
It's dinner time, fellas.
ready
Good
for you,
night.
brother.
We love you guys. See you.